Good morning, everyone. Welcome. We'll leave the doors open in case some other people want to come in, but we'll get started here in the interest of time. So thank you guys so much for coming. It's so great to have everybody here, especially first thing in the morning after what I hope was a fun evening. Yes, everyone enjoy themselves at the reception. Can I just ask real quick that everybody turn their ringers off? We are recording. So if you just want to turn off your cell phones, that would be great. I am Renee Keel. I am the COO with BrokerBin, and I am just super, super excited and honored to be up on this panel with these industry experts, gurus, all the wisdom. So I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves, and then we will get started.
My name is Lyle Gore with Ethos Dynamics. We're based in Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States.
I'm John Spagnolo, president of IQ Reseller. We're based in the United States, but we are a global ERP provider that's designed for this industry with it.
My name is Shirley Liu. I'm from Cloud Storage Corp. We're based at Hays, Kansas, in United States. We've been around for 14 years. I would like to thank Renee and BrokerBin team for this wonderful event.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm Dave Manning. I'm with a company called Iron Mountain. We've been around a while. I've been with the organization now about 7 years. I've been in the industry about 25 years. So pleasure to be here.
I was just going to say, I mean, I don't know if I want to age all of us, but there's a good, probably over 100 years of experience on this panel, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're just going to get started here. We've got some questions that we got from members previously, so we'll get started with those questions, and then we'll have an opportunity at the end if you guys want to ask the panel any questions, but also they are here for the next couple of days too, so if you want to follow up with any of these guys, schedule a meeting with them, you can do that as well. So just to get started again in the interest of time, one of the things that we're hearing a lot about in the industry is the global memory shortage. And so I'm just wondering if you guys could give us some feedback on your outlook for memory. Shirley, if you want to take that question.
So we noticed the shortage of memory, of course, and to my study, all big three, Samsung, Micron, and Hynix, they all projected a shortage in the next 5 years. They all added fabrication plants and production lines in 2026, but to see their significant volume, that's going to be until 2028 and 2030. So for our resellers right now, we are strive to connecting with our vendors, our suppliers, customers, be as transparent as possible and get some buffer inventory, keep a safe inventory in there to navigate this shortage.
Yeah, great. Does any, Dave or John?
Or Dave, you want to go?
Yeah, you know, I think it's no secret that the memory market has been a roller coaster for years, but until recently, the roller coaster had never gone as high as it had. Mm-hmm. Now it's come down a little bit, and I think that will be that's a normal reaction to what is basically an irrational market. But there's money to be made in irrational markets, and I think most of us here who trade in that type of commodity realize that this is probably a once-in-a-lifetime event. From our perspective, which is I think a little bit different from some, we deal with so many very large companies that are constantly asking this question to us. And a lot of our business is based on processing this type of equipment coming back from these companies who are now saying, hang on, we're going to put this in production or leave it in production for another 18 months and just wait and see. Could be prudent, may not be prudent depending on what the market does, but you know the demands of the market drove this, which has been interesting. And you know, to Shirley's point, the demands probably aren't going to trail off anytime soon. Yeah. The irrationality may, but the demands will not.
Yeah.
So coming from like a software side of things, I always tell people like people come to me like, what do you see or what do you see others with it is, now I'm not boots on the ground with it though, but I'm going to say use data to drive your buying decisions. Yes, it's like a roller coaster right now and it's taking off, it's coming down. Could it go back up again? Absolutely. But use the data to predict the next 6 months. Don't go off, okay, the next 5 years, it's going to be this, so this buy is going to be phenomenal at that point, so don't go gobble it all up. do it in small portions and follow the data with it as well too. Always look back at like the last 6 months of what's going on and use that to then make a decision on that. Just and a little bit of gut decision as well too. But look back at the trends for it.
Yeah, great. Okay, the next topic is the topic that I get asked about all the time on BrokerBin. It's like the number one requested discussion topic, which is pricing. Tricky. It's a tricky one. How is the memory shortage affecting pricing of other hardware parts, new and refurbished?
So I didn't speak to the memory portion like others because we don't play in that particular space as much. But for us, we primarily deal in networking equipment. And what we're seeing there is the major manufacturers of Cisco and HP and Juniper have long production lead times on all of their new equipment because the memory shortage is trickling its way into all of the newer production. So for us, we've seen probably 30 to 50% price increases on all of our refurbished networking in the last 4 to 6 months, which is great.
Yeah, it's great.
But to you guys' point about the 2030, 2028, they can't keep going up. So
No.
I think it's going to fluctuate through
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah. And so what other market challenges are affecting hardware prices for you guys?
I think it's, it's the whole rising tide lifts all boats, both
Yeah.
good and bad.
Yep.
We have seen other commodities react to this same problem. The demands of AI in this business are such that, first it was memory because that's the lowest
Yeah.
common denominator for everything. But if you look at like SSD NAND production, it's all sold out.
Yep.
The consumer market, if you deal in that, and I see a few people who I know deal in the consumer market, they're going to face that first when your new laptop starts costing 20, 30, 40% more with less memory. The ability to get that type of product for people who trade in that marketplace becomes exceedingly difficult. And it's even starting to get difficult, I think, for a lot of major manufacturers of servers and server equipment. We had a conversation last night where the conversation turned to how people lock in this type of business in the new market and how it affects the used market. And I vividly recall that every time Apple announces a new trade relationship with maybe it's Taiwan Semiconductor or memory manufacturer, they are buying a set amount of product for a set amount of time, which most people would say, well, that's crazy. They're not playing the market, but they do lock in their price and their volume. At this stage, I think it's kind of a scramble for anyone who's used to a just-in-time
Yeah.
industry, and it's not
Right.
just in time anymore. There's not
Yeah.
enough good product, not enough great product out there. Plenty of used product, but then that market has to shift, I think, to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
To jump in on your point about the just-in-time, I would have thought that they learned that just-in-time didn't work back during COVID.
Yeah.
And I think there has been, with a lot of the major manufacturers, I think there has been a situation where they're changing their structures where it isn't like it was 5 or 6 years ago. But I was shocked to see that with the change of having difficulty to get more memory, how many of those companies just really were not able to pivot the way that they needed to.
Yeah.
I was
Right.
really
Yeah.
surprised by that.
Right. Yeah. For sure. Jen, did you have?
No, I mean, it's just going back to, like, again, I'm from the software world, so to do is follow the trends of your data, and just really follow the trends. Don't go out there and make impulse buys that could then catch you at the wrong time. Just follow the trends.
Yeah. So what are each of you guys doing within your own organizations and your own companies to stay competitive in a market that feels a little, well, it always feels that way, right? But what are you guys doing to stay competitive today?
For us, it's primarily been wrapped around actually holding the inventory. So
Right.
the data that we've been following
Yeah, right.
is in our niche market. It has just been grab as much as we can to hold in stock and inventory. That doesn't mean that we're rationing it by any stretch of the means, but it is a situation where we are still currently bringing in as much as possible, and a lot of it is using my gut, like you were saying, John. But we found that from a market perspective, as we increase our inventory, we're then becoming more competitive down the line because there is a shortage of so many items.
Right. Yep.
I agree with Lyle, holding some inventory definitely keep us in a safer spot because you know you have the availability, you have the capacity to help your customers. Also, I think when we buy in inventories, pay attention not only to the quantity, but also to the configuration and specs as well. So concentrate on what your customers' demands are. You know, we have different niche. So if you have high-end inventory, high-end customers, focus on that. You know, you cannot have everything at one time, and that will put you in a not so flexible position as well. So not only in the quantity, but also look at what are the popular specs for your own company. So try to help your customer with that.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I mean, listening to your customers is key, and understanding their demands is what's going to get us through this. But I think, you know, one thing that we've started listening to our customers more about is how many of our long-term or like our long-standing clients are asking us to help them procure equipment. And we're an ITAD. That's been our focus for probably the last 7 years. So we're used to bringing it in, selling it back out. And we're getting more requests for, hey, can you refurb and redeploy this on our behalf? Can you talk to some of your other clients to see if they have something that we can buy? So we're becoming like not just bring it in, send it out, but bring it in from client A, send it back to client B, which is great for us, but it also affects how we deal with the broader market. Because when someone says, well, you know, you used to get all this stuff, where'd it go? We sold it right back to basically an end user client. And in this business, that's always the dream. You buy from the person who had it, you sell to the person who wants it, and you try to cut out the middleman. But the next few years will be very interesting because, you know, we do know that as this supply and demand pipeline starts to like ebb and flow, you'll see people changing their methodologies, people being, you know, the actual end user clients, on how long do they hold onto a laptop, or what's that server refresh going to be. And AI has literally upended everything because some of the biggest companies in the world will still get rid of product because they need the space for something better. And that's, to me, is crazy. But that's kind of our bread and butter.
Yeah. When you guys talk about listening to your clients and following trends, can you share some of the resources that you use? Is it internal resources that you guys are like, when you say listening to clients, you know what I mean? Or are there other resources or other industry events like this or other things that you guys are doing to kind of understand where the market is at or where what the clients are looking for?
I think Dave's point about having their clients coming to them, asking if you can reach out to us. We found tremendously that people are coming into us and saying, hey, we're looking for this deployment in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. Can you keep your eyes open for this? And we're doing a lot of forward stocking for those clients. So listening to particular customers who are large consumers of networking equipment in particular that we sell. But I mean, I think that was a great idea, Dave, because point being, that's exactly where you want to be is A to B.
Yeah, you bring up a good point too. Like I always say, especially from like IQ side of things, of what we're going to do next for our customers to provide those tools for it is go and talk to your customers, your vendors, build relationships. I mean, I always say this whole market that we service is relationship driven. Everyone buys and sells to the same people at that point, so don't be afraid to have those conversations. Build those talks up, and really listen and see what the needs are at that point. So never be scared to ask a question and really go out there to see what's going on though.
Yeah, I totally agree with all of them. I think it's really important to know your customer, talk to your customer. We got like really good relationships with our clients, vendors, and customers. And sometimes when they even not requiring something, they want to like exchange information or just, hey, are you slow this week? You know, some conversation started right there. So I definitely agree with Lyle, like don't afraid to talk to your customer. Just ask questions, exchange informations. You will find yourself around with this wonderful community in there.
Right. So you guys, were you going to say something,
Just
Dave?
because one other thing that we do, I mean, we're a publicly traded company, so our position's a little bit different than most. But as a publicly traded company, we have teams of analysts that look at all aspects of what we do. And we have found that, for starters, the information I'm going to take back from this meeting is going to be fantastic, because it's basically, here's the word on the street. But we also have people who have conversations daily with memory manufacturers, or they talk to logistics folks, or, hey, our transportation guys are telling us this because oil prices are going up, which means transportation costs more. And we're trying to assemble all of that into some coherent, what do we see for the next 30 days?
Right.
And the truth of the matter is, I had a conversation yesterday morning with one of my guys that works in Singapore, and he's like, nobody knows what's going on. I'm like, well, okay, that's fine. That's legit. But talking about reaching out to customers and things like that, everybody in this room knows that the most valuable relationship to have is with that customer. And if they're telling you that, and they're sharing their pain with you, the number one response for you is how can I help you? And then you work along those lines. Say, hey, I could provide you some guarantee, or maybe I can tell you, hey, maybe 30 days we'll see something. But like I said, you keep that conversation going, and that's going to be the best thing for you.
Yeah. So we figured this out in the beginning with the introductions, that this is a group of people that have been in the industry for many, many years, right? And so over those years, what are the ways that you guys have learned or have found to not just develop those relationships with the customers, but sort of do the next, add the next level of service, or do the extra thing? Because in a lot of situations right now, what we're seeing is, and we see this a lot on BrokerBin, is, price matters, price matters, price matters. And we're trying to say, well, there's more to it than that, right? There's a lot more to it than that. So how are you guys in each of your positions and within each of your companies kind of doing that little bit of a different service, or an extra service, or doing that extra 10% we always talk about to make a difference to your customers? What are those kinds of things that you're doing?
I mean, I don't think we do really anything that's terribly different from everybody out in the room, but understanding what that particular client needs. There are the customers who are more concerned about when it's delivered, so logistics become more important.
Sure.
There are the ones who are price sensitive. Obviously, we all have that situation, but what is really what the customers need? The term that I always use, whether I'm working with another broker or directly with an end user, is that my job is to make their job easier. So whatever that particular thing is usually where I try and spend the extra energy on that, hoping is not a strategy, I do understand that, but utilizing that as I listen to them and what their needs are, if I'm fulfilling those needs better than someone else,
Right.
that some of those other things probably don't need to be as competitive. Sometimes I can sell for a little bit more.
Right.
Other times I can take a little bit longer to deliver.
Right. Yeah, that's great.
From my point of view on this is, what tools can I provide to my customers that allow you to enable to get pricing on that product? How can I put the data in front of a user that will show exactly what that item is, what's your cost, what's your margin, what's the freight of that as well too. So it's being able to put that data out there as quick as possible in really a neat form that then allows you to go get the maximum dollar on that product though.
Yeah. And for my team, firstly, we are really responsive. So we understand that the customer need a quote, an accurate quote right away.
Yeah.
If we waited 1 hour,
Yeah.
the order already gone.
Yeah.
So you have to be really responsive and really accurate for your first quote. That's very critical to your customer. Then we provide great, really professional packaging as well. It showcases our quality, and all of our products are deeply tested, and we provide warranty to our product. So we always say we want to go above and beyond.
Yes.
So when the
Take pride,
customer come to us, they get very satisfied
Right.
with our products. So
Yeah.
that's how we keep our customer happy.
Yeah.
That's great.
You know, I think us, it obviously very similar here, but we also focus a lot on services that we offer our clients. And I think that is a differentiator for anybody in this room. You know, how you perform with the client, either inbound or outbound, is so important because it helps them, it just settles them. If you brought on a new customer and, you know, the guy that shows up in the Iron Mountain shirt with the Iron Mountain truck and picks up that product, he's your first line. And if we get a call, it's like, hey, John was great, he did this, or the opposite, then okay, that either looks great for us or looks poorly for us. We really focus on that well. But you know, for the way that we operate, that's really, I think, what puts us over the top, as it does anybody, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, let's be honest. If somebody wants widget X, they can buy it from any place.
Right.
How do you not just perform on price? Are the guy that picks up the phone at 10 o'clock on a Friday night and say, yeah, I'll drive it to FedEx in the morning if you really need it. And a lot of us have been there and done that. But service goes a long way.
Yeah.
To that point, people buy from people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
people buy from people they like, or people buy from people that feel like they're being taken care of.
Yeah.
And so that first line of defense or driving to FedEx to drop something off is huge.
Yeah, agreed. And I don't mean to put anything in any of your mouths, but I do hear a lot from these conferences, and a lot of the feedback that we get is that some of the ways that people are able to service their end user client is relationships and partners with other people in the industry, even sometimes people who would maybe, or companies that would maybe look like competitors on paper, but that you develop those relationships with them so that you can reach out to them and satisfy the client, right?
Right.
So I think that's, it's the reason we put on an event like this, obviously, so people can, you know, buy and sell from each other, but also develop those relationships and know who else that you can call on and reach out to in the industry. Yeah. Okay, this is a big one, and Dave has mentioned AI a couple of times, but when you hear AI, what first comes to mind with respect to your business operations and how you guys are running your business?
The biggest issue that I see for our business, so we're a much, much smaller company than ones I've worked for historically. The problem that I view is that when interacting with AI, anything that I upload, anything that I interact with, then no longer belongs to me. So corporate data, financial data, inventory data. So the project that we're working on now was reached out to a BrokerBin member who had AI machines, self-contained sandbox machines. So we purchased an NVIDIA machine to bring in-house, and we are now going through the process. We can't load an LLM, but we're now going through the process of training an AI version to run in-house in a sandbox so that we can still have all of that data interaction, but then it doesn't become public information.
That's great. That's great.
I think AI is going to be great on many different factors, actually. First, I always like to say AI is only as good as the person that's using it, though. So you do have to be careful how you are. I think AI is going to really help on reporting and on sales side. I see a bigger opportunity with AI is on the operational side of things and speeding up processing, what I call them on like a dummy asset, one that you can't plug into a machine to be able to gather that info. But I think AI is going to be a great tool that's going to help you process more product that you can't hook up to a machine, and that's probably your greatest risk and your bottleneck right now. So I see that's where AI will be going. That's something that we're focusing on as a company right now, is how can we help users process those assets faster with it. So I think that's where AI will be going for sure. You hear a lot of buzzwords of helping you with like reporting and the tools out there to get the trends with it. I think it's great for that, but it's really going to a tool to help us be more productive.
Great.
So our company first use of AI is trying to build an AI bot to answer our internal employees' questions about our
great.
procedures, standard, our even handbook policies. So those save a lot of time for our own people to answer own people's questions. And the second thing we do is we use AI to tag and write more description of our products. But be honest, AI does make mistakes. There should be a human in the loop.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we also use AI to create our orders. The AI gonna sort and park our emails and create orders, but that also include a human in loop as well. It saves time, but it does make mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two different things I have thoughts about. I have lots of thoughts about AI, but first one I'm going to mention is that so many companies out there are just forging ahead with AI, and there are, from the standpoint of an ITAD, there are a lot of things that we're going to have to be aware of in the near future about things like how do you safely and securely handle liquid cooling for a data center? Where do you dump that? Where do you process that? What happens when all these great GPUs hit the system in 5 years? Do I get a GPU at home? Does Jeremy? Do we all get a GPU? There's so many. How does the market react to that? But the other thing I will say is that as a corporate directive, we're really focused on AI as part of our overall infrastructure. And I was having a conversation last week with a coworker of mine, similar position that I'm in. He's like, listen, we have to use AI, and we went through all these training things for it. And we have our own little Gemini gem. That's their personal assistant. And talking to my colleague Derek, who's from Ireland, and he goes, I named my AI gem Brian, and Brian is so stupid. And I'm like, but to John's point, you get in what you put out. And we're all trying to figure out, can I have it look at my email? Can it summarize what I need to take it, do first? And it helps there, but I think that looking at this industry in the next 4 or 5 years, what's AI going to do? To Shirley's point, hopefully it does that hard work that we do now so we can focus on something better. Like, here's the descriptions. Did you take care of this? Did somebody alert this person? And routing things through our entire network for approval and things like that, instead of making it manual. There's got to be a way.
Yeah.
And we'll all get there.
Yeah.
The one aspect that doesn't get talked about a lot of times with the AI usage is as we all become dependent upon it, what is that cost to the business then going to be in the future?
Yeah.
Sam Altman was already saying that at the $200 level per month for use of OpenAI or for ChatGPT, that they lose money. So at $200 a month, they lose money.
Wow.
So at what point are these LLMs trained so well that we can't live without it? And then all of a sudden, corporate entities are paying thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month for usage. And then what is that going to cost me? I've got 3 teenage kids. You got college and high school. And how much am I going to be spending a month personally so that they all have the ability to interact? Because once we're all dependent on it, there is no option.
Yeah.
Unless everybody has a GPU
Unless
at home,
they
which
have a
I do, which I do. So I'm working on it. I'm trying to get ahead of the game.
Might be the case pretty soon, so
Right.
Yeah. Gosh, that really is something to consider.
It's going to be expensive.
It's going to be expensive. Okay. This question I did not put out to the panel yet, so hopefully I'm not catching you guys off guard. But if you were training in somebody new into this industry, what's the best advice you would give somebody coming into the secondary IT market today?
100%, I am in the opinion that every single transaction you do is all about both sides, the buyer, the seller, everyone being taken care of, and ethics is the only thing that I would say is, is not an option. I've been doing this since '98. We all have stories of that guy.
Yeah.
Back in the old days, and everybody knows that guy, and so you just don't even want that to be an issue.
No.
And if you are always working off of an ethical transaction, always being transparent, maybe not so much. You don't have to. They don't need to know what you paid, etc. But if you start with that as your basis, everything else I can teach, but I can't teach ethics.
That's great. That's great.
no, that's a lot of truth right there. The first thing I would probably say is run, to be honest. And really question, do you want to do this? No. It's you're only as good as your word.
Yeah.
And I mean, been doing this for so long now. Like, I remember it was the Wild Wild West, and it's getting better, but is only be as good as your word, and always tell the truth and be transparent.
Yeah. I would say detail-oriented and hardworking. So we basically bring in chaos, servers
chaos,
and and parts with broken components or things like that. We need to sort of each part number, make it in each rating category, and pack it to the perfect condition. So I would say detail-oriented is really important, and hard work. Other people see you do things very easily, but actually you do the hard work behind the scene, and so that you can present a good product in there.
And I think run is both funny and true. I think everyone in this room started in sales for some reason. They knew somebody or something didn't work out. Oh, look at this. And, I think in the broader environment, oh, you're a sales guy. I'm like, oh, no, you're right. I'm not a lawyer. I didn't go to medical school. But you know what? I love what I do. And I think there should be some pride in that. I don't care if you're selling a car or a computer, you're selling data centers, you're servicing a need, but more importantly, you're servicing the needs of your customer. And I think that's the key. And I'm going to do a sales training next month. We got 30 new sales reps coming in.
Oh my.
And talking about, here's the big picture of what we do. But, the days of, basically saying there's your desk, there's your phone, figure it out, those are gone.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a lot more work than that to bring somebody up, and they may have the best resume in the world, but they may not be a good sales rep. Just, you'll know. They'll know too.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a discussion point that we have regularly at BrokerBin. So the point you mentioned about the days of like a desk and a phone are gone. It's difficult to reach somebody on a phone today, right? And that's how most of us got started. Just pick up the phone. So how are you going to train these 30 new reps? Like what are some of the resources you'll provide, or you say, like, if it's not just pick up a phone, it's how
it's made doubly tough by the fact that we, like a lot of companies, are virtual.
Yes.
These guys aren't in one data. They're not in one office.
Right,
They're all over the country. In some cases, all over the world.
Yeah.
So we have to figure out, okay, how do we instill those best practices?
Yeah.
And since COVID, Iron Mountain has been primarily a virtual company. We sold our corporate headquarters. People scattered everywhere, and oh, you're never on the phone. I'm always on Google Chat. I'm always in a Google meeting. It's like, frankly, worse than it ever was.
Yeah.
Oh, can you jump on a call? So you're used to these conversations, but they're different now.
Right.
But I think for these new reps, it's going to be, it's like, here's your vertical. Because we have other businesses under the Iron Mountain umbrella, we have thousands of warm relationships.
Yeah.
We work with this customer on this thing. Can you call them about this? Hey, it becomes much easier than a cold call. But at the same time, our hope is that some of these reps will also find different businesses, and that's going to be a challenge. I mean, how do you get a hold of someone this stage? We do a lot of conferences, and not just like remarketing conferences, but healthcare, banking. I mean, there's a conference for everything. We've got people out there. We're sponsoring events, or we have a booth because this is the new normal.
Yeah.
After COVID, people do want to get out. They do want to see people because that's how they make those connections.
Yep.
But
great.
it's still going to be a challenge because, like I said, some people, it just might not work.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything?
To Dave's point, here's a book and here's a phone and figure it out.
That's how most of us started, yes.
I don't necessarily disagree with that still.
Okay.
We still do a tremendous amount of cold calling. Warm calling is so much better, but we still utilize tools, not so much on the travel side, but the tools that are available, whether that's AI-based, trying to find out what industries might be interested in needing the product sets that we sell. So we do have somewhat of a guided role for that, but we still do a lot of cold calling.
Yeah. Okay, so what would you guys say is or not necessarily one, but an overlooked opportunity in today's market?
I guess we're working from the left to right. I always feel bad. So for us in particular, again, we're a much smaller one, and the subset that we sell is Meraki. So it's the subset of Cisco networking. I still think that individual sales reps, companies can't do this on a big scale, but individual sales reps, if they pick a niche and stick with that niche and become true product experts on a niche, that there really is benefit to that. I think back to some of the folks that I've worked with over the last 30 years anybody who comes to me and says, I want to buy this one product, I generally either know that I can go to this one particular person, or if it's a wholesale relationship, hand them off to that, but really just get to be an expert, again, as a single salesperson, not a company, on a single product. And then you can always resell everything. You're always having the ability to work with people on your team, but that's kind of your thing to differentiate yourself.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, just to kind of add to that, I like with IQ, I always just say we focus on our core. We're good at being an ERP. We're not a integrations company where we're going to build custom integrations for everything. We focus on what we always do best in. I'm not going to say, no, we can't do that, but I may know somebody that can help you with that. Like, so the same thing, focus on your core product, but if an opportunity arises to sell different types of devices, you may know someone that you can leverage to where you can work together to help that customer out as well.
Yeah, I would say besides chasing the hot items, also pay attention to the other categories that you are able to access. So that may give you some stability or resilience to the market fluctuation.
Yep.
And also, like Dave said, some AI dense servers gonna come to the market. So that's something that we need to pay attention to. There must be a lot of high-end GPU coming in next few years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the number one overlooked thing that most people in this room probably don't think about is when they make a sale, they ship the product out, customer says, we're happy with it. Does anyone follow up and say, what are you doing with the old stuff?
Okay.
What are you going to do with that product? And again, we're an ITAD. We focus on that product. But I had a great conversation with a longtime friend who said, yeah, thanks for this deal. It was great. Customer loved it. I'm like, everything they replaced this new stuff, that this new stuff replaced, what do you do with it? He goes, what do you mean? Did you buy it? Well, no, he didn't tell me. Did you ask?
Oh, gosh.
No. And I'm like, and that's part of just, how do you get more sticky with the client? It's not just I sold it to you, thank you very much, call me in 6 months. It's that ongoing relationship of what else do you need? What else can I help you with? I mean, we are all logistics people. We know how to ship product out. We also know how to bring product in. It's flipping the script a little bit, especially if you're only used to outbound sales. Sometimes that's hard because I sold to him last year for this. I'm going to offer him 50 cents on the dollar this year. Maybe I will. Then you have someone else in your office call him, and he's the bad guy. But I think that's one of the things that we all should consider is how do you strengthen that relationship? And it's working both sides.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. Okay, the meetings will start at 10 o'clock, and so I don't want to keep anyone from their meetings, but we do have about 5-10 minutes that we can open up for questions if you guys are willing to take audience questions. Does anybody have a question for the panel? I know you guys have questions. I know you do. No? Anything else you guys want to add? Give them a minute to think of a question?
No.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions out on the floor between, during breaks, at lunch.
Yeah.
I think on behalf of all of us, if you have any questions, come find us.
Yeah.
Love to talk to everybody here.
Yeah,
See a lot of
for
people I
sure.
know, but a lot of people I don't know.
Yeah.
And again, that's why we're here.
Yeah.
So.
You guys sure you have no questions for the group? Okay. Well, there you go. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Your meeting schedulers are open, I'm assuming, or your schedules,
yeah.
kind of. You've got, okay. But you can find them. You'll be at the receptions,
We'll be
lunches,
around.
We'll be around.
everything else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you guys so much.
Thank
I
you.
really,
Thank you.
really appreciate
Thanks.
it. I'm so
Thanks.
glad you
Thank you.
guys are all here. Get to your meetings on time.
Always be on time.
Thank you.
All right, good. Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you.